Howdy! Today I'm going to talk about a topic chosen by the Magic Box from a perspective chosen by the Tarot deck. Today's topic is Memory Palace versus Memory Landscape. Memory Palace versus Memory Landscape. Interesting. Now I will choose a perspective card. I'll go ahead and shuffle the deck here. And the perspective card is the Knight of Discs. The Knight of Discs is an interesting card. I interpret the Knight of Discs, at least in this deck, as like the guy who wakes up early every day, like a farmer who just wakes up and does the same thing every day, works hard, gets stuff done, doesn't talk much, just does stuff and keeps doing stuff, works hard, doesn't mind being bored, doesn't mind doing repetitive things, just keeps working, just works hard. That's what I think of with the Knight of Discs. So what was the topic again? Memory Palace versus Memory Landscape. So this idea, you've probably heard of the concept of a memory palace. And this comes from mnemonic techniques. The memory palace is a mnemonic technique. You imagine some space, like you can think of your house or any building whatsoever where you can walk through and imagine yourself in that space. And then you can use the different locations in the space to place memories. And you have images that represent certain information, and you place those in different locations within the memory palace. And that helps to remember information later. You can kind of visually in your mind walk through the space and see where those images are located, and that will help you remember things. So that's the idea of the memory palace. The memory landscape is something that I don't know if other people have used this term, but it's a term that I use to just refer to your memories as they are. Like you're not constructing any special memory palace, you're not constructing any sort of architecture. It's just whatever naturally occurs in your memory. And I've been very interested in mnemonic techniques for a long time. I'm not particularly good at mnemonics and memory sports and that sort of thing, but I've definitely played around with it for many years, and my interest is more in the question of like, how do you navigate your memory landscape than in how do you construct new memory palaces. Memory palaces are great, but I'm more interested in like instead of like deciding what you want to memorize and then having the skill to memorize those things, I'm more interested in, I want to be able to easily access arbitrary memories, not specific memories that I decide to sit down and memorize. So in other words, I'm more interested in navigating the memory landscape than I am in constructing memory palaces. And to return to the perspective card here, yeah, the Knight of Discs is very much like a hardworking farmer who works the land and, you know, doesn't complain about, you know, good weather versus bad weather, or, you know, whatever circumstances this guy finds himself in. He just does what he needs to do, and doesn't, almost like it doesn't have an opinion, or just kind of has some equanimity with the material circumstances that he finds himself in. And I think the concept of the memory landscape, let me see if I can find real quick the Prince of Discs, because I'm just looking through the deck here to see if I can find it. But the Knight of Discs and the Prince of Discs are at a helpful contrast. I really want to find it, but I'm not seeing it. Well, anyway, oh, here it is. Okay, cool. So this is the Prince of Discs, and this is the Knight of Discs. And so I think of the Prince of Discs as like the engineer who sort of figures things out and like comes up with clever ways to arrange things so that you can solve problems in new ways. So very much like an engineer and figuring things out mindset. Whereas the Knight of Discs is more just like, you know, things are the way they are. I'm just gonna take the next step, and then I'm gonna take the next step, and then I'm gonna take the next step. There's not much like engineering going on. It's just, you know, take the next step, take the next step, take the next step. And I think this sort of like represents, you know, the Prince of Discs is sort of like the memory palace, the constructing, you know, new structures, coming up with new ways to do things, or building things. And then the Knight of Discs is more like, well, things are the way they are, so I'm just gonna navigate the landscape as I find it. I'm trying to think of how to conclude. The end. Thank you for watching.